MaXXXine seems to be opening this weekend to some pretty divisive reviews. Is it a worthy end to a very popular horror trilogy, or is it a major letdown? Ty West's X was a sleeper hit. Horror fans really loved the Texas Chainsaw-esque exploitation throwback slasher movie, and the surprise prequel that came out almost immediately after, Pearl, which made Mia Goth a horror icon in her own right. The first two movies tell the story of MaXXXine and Pearl, who, despite their very violent fight in X, share similar dreams of stardom and fame. The narrative through line of X and Pearl set everything up nicely for a big slasher showdown finale in Hollywood, which is the ultimate representation of this trilogy's overarching themes of stardom, ambition, and the Hollywood machine. We're introduced to MaXXXine in X, and we see how determined, ambitious, and ruthless she is. When she says she'll do anything to be a star, she fucking means it. Pearl, on the other hand, is quite literally MaXXXine if she fails to become a star, shown very plainly by the fact that Mia Goth plays both characters. MaXXXine, as a film, reminds the audience of the dangers of Hollywood at every turn, particularly of young women trying to make it big. Hence the whole Night Stalker angle, where the threat of any man you might meet in a dark alley or just at night when the streets are kind of empty looms large over the film, but not quite as large as the Hollywood machine, or the beast as Elizabeth Bender puts it in the movie. MaXXXine is confident and ruthless as hell, but she's ultimately a consumable good, a commodity, at least in this Hollywood machine. Something Elizabeth reminds her of as she drives MaXXXine around the back lot. MaXXXine, as confident as she is, has become a passenger to the powerful and dangerous men in Hollywood. On top of all that, MaXXXine has the threat of failure looming over her at every turn in the form of Pearl, again, her physical manifestation of what she will become if she doesn't make it big. MaXXXine and her friends and her colleagues are all transplants to Hollywood, a few in the many people that move out to California for opportunities in a never-ending gold rush. The different accents of these characters very obviously sets them apart from the execs, the casting directors, even the crew that work on the lots that have that, like, you know, just all-American, regular American accent. Versus, for example, Tabby's accent, MaXXXine's, and even Molly's, whose English accent is notably different from the director, Elizabeth Bender. The movie ultimately ends up being about the dreamers trying to make it big versus the Hollywood elite in a swanky hilltop mansion right underneath the famed Hollywood sign. And while I personally wasn't that shocked when it's revealed that MaXXXine's religious fanatic father is the one behind everything, it does make sense for what the movie's trying to do, I think. MaXXXine's father presents as this like final boss style obstacle to MaXXXine's dreams, and MaXXXine has to squash it, as Elizabeth puts it in the film, so that she can become a star. And her father represents like the Hollywood elites, all the nasty men, all the powerful executives that take advantage of people in Hollywood. And so he represents what MaXXXine has to go through in order to make it. So when she tells him at the end that he taught her exactly what she needed, she means it. He teaches her that she has to stay ruthless in order to stay in the light. And it's really just laying it on thick that this comes to a head at the literal Hollywood sign, which is the physical representation of every person that's come to Hollywood trying to make it as a star. Thematically, I feel like the movie does make sense, and it very much seems like the natural conclusion to this trilogy, but I just couldn't help but feeling like there was something a little bit off. I think maybe we just ended up with too many characters that made the overall themes feel cheap and spread thin. Like the whole thing with the cops continually like coming up to MaXXXine and just flubbing it, and especially the male cop who is just overly aggressive, and then he ends up literally dying at the Hollywood sign, like lamenting how he wanted to be an actor while his like bloody hand touches the sign. It's like really cheesy, but not necessarily in a good way. And this is just like a personal grievance, introducing a character like Leon, who was really just there to kind of be Maxine's like little sidekick for kind of 2 seconds, and then he just ends up becoming part of the body count. He deserved better, and I needed him to be in more of the movie because he was great. Overall, this wasn't quite what I was expecting from the end of this trilogy, but it definitely isn't the worst movie of the year so far, and I'm not like that mad at it. I'm not saying this is a terrible movie. It just felt like something was missing. So it turns out, in the midst of all the divisiveness about this that I'm seeing on Letterboxd, I'm kind of right there in the middle. I cannot wait to hear in the comments what you guys thought about MaXXXine and your thoughts on the end of this trilogy. I definitely have reviewed X and Pearl, so I'll link one of the videos there if you want to check that out. And I will see you next week to talk about some more new horror movies that are coming out at the end of this year that we need to be excited about, and to review Longlegs, of course. I think I flubbed it on one of my last videos. I got my weeks mixed up. Longlegs is coming out next week. So I'll see you in those videos. Until then, stay strange. Bye.